used a quilt kit? And if you have, did you like it? I am on the fence about quilt kits, and that prompted me to make this video on 7 different tips for using quilt kits. I have a quilt kit here that I got from Charisma Horton. You'll have to check her out, she's amazing. And this is a quilt kit for this pattern, the sweet and salty pattern. Isn't it cute? This is completely outside of my comfort zone. I usually don't use bright colors, but one of my New Year's resolutions is to start getting outside of my comfort zone. We're gonna take a look inside this quilt kit and talk about some of the things that you may need to know about working with kits. The first thing you wanna do when you get your quilt kit is you want to make sure all the pieces are in the bag or the container. It's very important because human beings usually put these together and sometimes there's some errors, so you want to catch it before you start the actual project. So I just take an inventory. Now this particular one has a pattern right here and it gives me all of the stuff I need on the back. So I'm going to go through and just make sure everything is here. And I'm going to measure all the pieces, this white piece, and this black piece before I cut anything. Also within this is the strips. So I don't really have to measure this, but I do have to make sure that I have enough strips that go with the pattern. And finally, for this particular pattern, it comes with a tool, which is the banana split tool. So I want to make sure that's in there and not broken or anything like that. This one looks to be really good and ready to go. And then the next tip for cutting this is to be very careful with cutting. A lot of times these quilt kits do not come with a lot of extra fabrics. So if you mess up cutting, it can be a real issue. When you are cutting out the pieces, make sure you're very accurate. Make sure that you are taking your time and getting each cut correctly. And if there are instructions on what order to cut the fabrics, make sure you also pay attention to that. Next, make sure you write down an inventory of all the stuff that's in this bag, including the types of fabric if you know it. If you have to go to the selvage, I know I can never say that right, but the selvage edge, and just jot down the line of fabric. That way, if you do make a mistake with cutting, you can go back and find more of that fabric if you need to purchase it. My next tip is to keep everything together. Now, this particular kit came with a bag. Sometimes it comes with a box, but if you don't have that, get one of those plastic art bins or any type of container that's going to keep everything together. You don't want to lose some of the pieces that are in this kit and not be able to find them. The next thing I always do is I photocopy the pattern, and I don't photocopy the pattern. This is very important. I don't photocopy the pattern to share it. I photocopy the pattern so I can write on it. This is really important for me for taking notes. And sometimes I don't want to mess up the original pattern, so I just make a photocopy. You could even put it into a sleeve and use a wet erase marker, not a dry erase marker. Use a wet erase marker because it won't smudge off on your fingers. Fun fact, that's usually what teachers use to write on the board so some kid doesn't come in and change the date or something like that, because then they can't get it off very easily. They have to use something wet. But anyway, all right, so use a wet erase marker to do that. Another tip is to read through all of the instructions. This way you know what to expect, you know how this is put together, and you know how everything is supposed to go. If you have to, take notes on your photocopied pattern and just keep it all together in your container. And the next suggestion I have for you, because that fabric is so precious and you may not have enough, use some of your scrap fabric to make a test block or even a test quilt. And that's what I did with this one. I made a test block just so I understood exactly how it was put together before I go to the kit to make the project. And finally, have fun. These kits are meant to be convenient. They're perfect for going on a retreat or just sewing something you just want to complete and have done and have everything together. But it is important to note that usually kits do not come with the backing, the batting, or the binding. So keep that in mind when you're working with these kits. And full disclosure, Charisma did send this to me for free, and I will be doing a tutorial on this quilt kit coming up. I hope this helped you make the decision on whether you're going to buy a kit or not. They are a lot of fun and I highly recommend them, and I can't wait to dig into this one. Have a great day. Make sure you take some time to sew, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.